it's Dr. Ryan here from Straight Up Spine and Posture. This is the last part in our video series about home care tools. We'll be talking about a ball holder, which is something that we custom 3D print here in the office. And it's made to hold a lacrosse ball chiefly, but you could also put a tennis ball or a racquetball in this. And it simply holds it still, so you can do good work with it. Chiefly what we do with holding the ball still is kind of applied sustained pressure. Traditionally, we'll use this for something called the vice technique, which works wonderfully for trap tension, which is a classic place to have that. But this will hold it still if you want to do kind of the vice method on the calf or the hamstring, the glutes, certain parts of the back. Works really well. Then there's one for the middle of the back called a double ball release. They need 2 of these for. We have another video on that, but I'll kind of briefly demonstrate. So I'll go through and show how we use this briefly with the traps. That's a classic one. And we'll do the upper back with the double ball method too, just briefly. Those are probably the 2 favorite ones that we have with this, but there's a lot of other ones that you could do with it. It's similar to kind of an AccuMobility ball. They have some good content on their Instagram and YouTube as well if you want to see something similar that you could use. So I'll start with the vice technique for the trap. It's very simple. You just take one ball in the holder, put it on the ground, and then we're going to kind of gently lay that so that it's under our trap. And we'll use a Theracane or some other point pressure system where once I get my trap laying on this ball, I'm just going to relax. And then I'm going to use not the hand on the side that it's on. So in this case, the right side, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to let that relax. And I'm going to use the left side. So I'm going to line this up so when I press down, I'm pressing onto the top of that ball and my muscle is getting trapped between it. And then I can do some various things with my hands to get a nice release out of that. So that's basically the vice technique for the traps. We have another video where we cover that, so you can check that out in more detail. A couple people had questions. Again, you would use a Theracane for DIYing it if you don't have a fancy kabuki strength tissue release system. But if we have 2 of these guys, we can do a fantastic upper back release technique called the double ball method. Now, this is traditionally a very tricky spot to get at and a very common point for people to have pain. So basically, we're going to take the balls and we're going to space them evenly so that they're about 2 inches apart, so that your spine, the pointy dinosaur bone feeling things in the back of your spine called the spinous processes, we don't want to compress those. So this is nice because our spine can fit right between these 2 points. And then basically, we're going to lay back in such a way that we get these upper back muscles between the shoulder blade and the spine. We get those compressed really nicely. And then at that point, we'll just relax. And I'm going to do basically a little bit of a hip thrust here to keep a nice firm pressure on these. This is not very delightful and strong, so this is somewhat tender for everyone. That's very normal. And then we'll take the arms, and if I basically give myself kind of a hug, this will really stretch the muscles between the shoulder blades and the spine that are really problematic in some people. So just kind of reaching, or you can do various overhead around to the bottom, kind of like a fly, kind of like breaststroke type style, or we can just go straight up and down. There's a lot of things that you can do with this, but basically the more that we reach across, the more our shoulder blades are going to move out and open up that space between the shoulder blade and spine, again, which is a really common area to have troublesome tight muscles for some patients. So that's the last one in our standard package, and we'll talk about the package as a whole next, but any individual things, you can reference some of those videos that we have, like the double ball method, trap vice, things like that.